And I don't know if you guys bet on the Falcons to end all kinds of droughts, right, Jarvis? I mean,
Right.
they ended a drought of not winning the home opener at the Benz. And remember, emphasis on the Benz, the new home for the Falcons. They I mean, that to me was like mind blowing. Like, never won a home opener while they've been in the Benz? Hadn't gone over 500 since January 13th of 2018. I mean, they really, really, so it was a significant win, right? It was a
Right.
significant
Yes.
win. And you were in the building on behalf of our ATL Day Ones and Locked On at Sports Atlanta team. And first of all, just tell us a little bit about how that environment was, because I hear that it was one of the more ruckus and rowdy environments in recent memory.
So you know what? Like walking up to the stadium, like because I
Yeah,
normally get there
so
around
you're
about
close.
between 11 and 11:15. Try to get
Yep.
there like 2 hours before kickoff,
Mhm.
and the lines were out the wazoo. Like
Yes.
the lines were literally, you know how the overpass, coming
Mhm.
from our station, like the lines were literally back there, going up the ramp as you come off that overpass if you're walking. So yeah, it was just a sight to see a lot of the Falcons fans out there. And then as I was riding on the little trolley, going to the stadium, I was hearing some of the employees of the stadium talking about, I don't see any Falcons. I mean, I don't see any Panthers fans out here tailgating. And one of the guys was so funny. His response was, he was like, "I don't nobody give a crap about no Panthers doggone tailgating here in Atlanta at our crib." So
Right.
it was just really cool to kind of see, like, it felt a little different.
Yes.
Just seeing everybody out there and seeing all the black and red, and then coming into the stadium just to see how the excitement was there, and people are really really excited about this team. But just from the game standpoint, T, I really
Mhm.
feel like my big takeaway from this one is the coaching. I think the coaching aspect of from offensively, speaking offensively, if Arthur Smith just being able to adjust, because I felt like during that game he started to get a little cute. And of course you want to use the toy and Bijan Robinson and all that stuff, but just remember, like once that offense started popping, who they gave the rock to? Number 25, Tyler Allgeier. Tyler Allgeier popped off a couple of those runs. You start to see the offense start clicking a little bit. And then, obviously, with Bijan being able to get in the end zone, it's apparent like what this dude is going to be able to do this year. But when you have a guy like Tyler Algier to complement him as well, I think that it's going to keep teams from keying in on Bijan whenever he's in the game. And I think Arthur Smith was able to take advantage of that once they were kind of subbing in and out and making those necessary adjustments. But so, yeah, I think definitely a big shout out to Arthur Smith just from being able to make those adjustments necessary in order to get that offense going.
Indeed. And we're going to talk more and deep dive into the defense tomorrow, but I'll just make this point to make the point about the offense. And that is when you have takeaways. I mean, that's been a point of emphasis for the coaching staff as well, that we need to flip the field with takeaways. The fact
Right.
that the offense, now I made that point to say the fact that the offense kept getting a short field to work with, that's how you can get an 11-yard touchdown from Bijan Robinson, because you're in the low red zone, right?
Right.
Same thing with Tyler Algier, a 3-yard run, a 4-yard one. Why? Because you had a short field to work with, and then you can punch it in with that guy, right? So it
Mm-hmm.
was really exciting, and also good to see the versatility of utilizing Bijan Robinson, where we've seen him line up that way all through training camp and even earlier in the offseason OTAs. But then you look at Tyler Algier, and everybody wondered, well, what are they going to do with him? How are they going to use him? Exactly how they used him. They're going to
Right.
use him as the bruising running
God
back that
dog
he
it.
was.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank, the end. And granted, that might change a little bit when Cordero Patterson officially comes back, but I have a sneaking suspicion, and that's one of my kind of negative takeaways, because I want to hear from you about your offensive concerns or negative takeaways too, Jarvis. But
Mm.
for me, that could be a big deal. And I would agree with you on one thing I liked was how they used Michael Pruitt, because we
Mm.
know that I would just say the whole right side of the O-line was on the struggle bus yesterday. I'm not going to even just say that was Caleb McGarry, although it was most of the
Yeah.
year. but not
Yeah,
just Caleb McGarry, but it was really the whole right side was on the struggle bus, and utilizing Michael Pruitt to help to block Brian Burns. We heard his name far less in the second half than we did in the first half. So I do like some of the, as you mentioned, just mild or modest tweaks that helped to eventually break that game open in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny when I asked Arthur Smith about that after the game. He was just like, "It's coaching, like it's just the NFL, like you have a plan coming in to do certain things, but like he didn't use this analogy, but I'll go ahead and use it myself. Like, but when you get punched in the mouth, like, and you didn't expect to get punched in the mouth like that, you have to make those adjustments and say, you know what, okay." All right, that's a nice little lick. Now I got to figure out how to get my lick back. So I think that Derrick Brown and Brian Burns, like we talked about Mr. Brown, like we understood, but Brian Burns is like he is playing for a contract. That man is hungry. He's trying to get paid. He said, I need 25, 27, $28 million annually. I need to get up there. So I think that we saw that, and he was able to take advantage of one of the Falcons' best offensive lineman in Chris Lindstrom. Derrick Brown was able to get the best of him. So that was the shocker, right? So to be able to see them make those necessary adjustments, sometimes you don't want to. And the offense may have looked like Marcus Mariota offense last year, but hey, it is what it is. You're trying to get the dub, and like you said, the defense put you in a situation to be able to score and take advantage of those turnovers. I commend Arthur Smith. I commend him. Like, hey, man, I understand what you want to do, but at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do to get that dub.
Yeah, because you got 17 points off turnover. So like you said, whatever it takes. And one more positive before we do our quick concerns, and then we'll probably wrap up after that, because, hey, there's so much more to dig into. It's like we want to save the defense for tomorrow so we can dig in a little bit more. But I really did like what I saw from Kyle Pitts. It may have just been that one catch, but it was so exciting to see him do things that you knew he could do, right? But you wondered if he could do it again. We saw it in his first season. Unfortunately, he didn't have the right QB in his second season. So here we are in the third season, and he had to go back for that ball yesterday, and he did it. So I just wanted to kind of shout out the exciting part about Kyle Pitts, but I'll flip it and say that's also where my concern lies, because I was looking for Drake London. I was looking for Scotty Miller. I was looking for Mac Hollins and wondering, and I do know Desmond Ridder had a limited number of passing attempts, so you just couldn't get to everybody. But I did wonder, Jarvis, was that more the Panthers secondary bringing great coverage, or was it more the wide receiver core has not gelled with Dez quite yet?
I would probably say it was more what Carolina was doing. And not necessarily in the secondary, but just like we talked about. We're talking about Derrick Brown and Brian Burns. Like, there was only so much you could do because they were coming. They were putting pressure. They saw some leaking, a chink in the armor, when it comes to that offensive line. And Allgeier, excuse me. Sorry if I butchered your name. Sorry, sir. But yeah, he called a good game, because like the Falcons, they had to make a big adjustment, you know what I'm saying, in order to be able to capitalize on what they were able to do. And when you think about, like going in to different games with a different game plan, like you said, you have to make those necessary adjustments. And I think that, of course, we want to see him be able to get the ball to Mac Hollins, Scotty Miller, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London, and all that stuff. Of course, we would love to see that. Like, that's how we know that this offense is going to be clicking. But I'll go back to what we talked about before this game. Desmond Ridder's going to get off to a slow start, because that's just when you don't have live ball snaps, when you don't have that situation where, hey, I know that somebody's going to put me on the ground if I don't get rid of this ball. Like, we saw him hesitate. We saw him, stepping up into the rush and not necessarily having a good feel for it to be able to get out of the way and so he can make a throw downfield. We saw it later on in the game, but early on, he looked like he was kind of lost. So, I even joked with Aaron on the Falcons postcast that, hey, that first half was preseason. You know what I'm saying? Those were preseason reps. And then second half, they started to figure that thing out. So, I really feel like, this is a game that take it with a grain of salt. You got the dub, but just know that this offense is going to be a work in progress, and be thankful that your defense was able to turn over a rookie quarterback like they're supposed to, and take advantage of that. And you were able to take advantage of that as well on the back end.
And everydayers, let us know what your biggest takeaways are from game one. Were you guys sold that, hey, the Falcons, they've got a squad? Was it good on offense for you? Good on defense? What concerns might you have? Definitely let us know. You always do. So we appreciate it. And don't forget, of course, to download ATL Day Ones wherever you get your podcasts.